So if you lose your job or your hours are reduced or you become ill, what is the first thing you want to do? Who you gonna call? You're gonna call the Urban League. Seriously. Right. Because we're gonna help you figure out what your options are. Don't wait until you're 1 payment behind, 2 payments behind, 3 payments behind. Oh my God, I got a foreclosure letter. That is more likely what happens. And then it puts all of us in a very challenging position as to how we address that issue. It's much easier to have more options the earlier you contact us and you realize that this is a responsibility to own a home. It's serious business. There's a lot of aspects to it. It's not just getting the home. You got to maintain the home. You gotta pay property taxes. You gotta insure the risk so you can protect. There's a lot to it. But guess what? Don't worry about that because you're gonna learn all about it today. So we're gonna next hear from one of our key sponsors for this event, who's making it possible for, there's several key sponsors that are making it possible for you to be here at what? No cost. Right. Because this isn't free, really, but it's free to you. Because we want to make sure that as many people as possible get this information. Because the converse is also true. The more people that buy homes, guess what happens to the economy? The better the economy is. Last thing I want to share is Urban League does more than this. We focus heavily on helping people to earn a living. Because you can't buy a home if you don't have what? A job, or more importantly, income. Yes. And not just any job. Because to own a home, you can't make minimum wage and own a home. That's not going to happen. So one of the things we help you do is uptick your income. Uptick you, uptick your skills. You figure out where the hot industry sectors are. That's what we do. So if you're in a position where you feel like, you know what, I want to make more money. I want to figure out what I can do to make more money. Who are you going to call? Urban League. You got that right. So we do that. The other thing we do is we work with youth. We have a passion for 14 to 24-year-olds who are out of school, not working, not on a pathway to the middle class or empowerment. So if you know a 14 to 24-year-old who needs some guidance to get tapped into who they are, their talents and skills, so they can go on that path to get above and beyond a minimum to $10, $11, $12 an hour job, where you gonna send them?
Urban League.
To the Urban League. And then we also support people wherever they are. You can be a college graduate looking for opportunity. You can be coming out of the criminal justice system. We're going to support you to do the same things across the board. So those are the key things that we do. And then the last thing I almost forgot, we help people start and grow businesses. Who in this room wants to own a business? Okay. Where you going to call? Urban League. Right. Who has a business already? Okay. If you want to grow that business, call the Urban League. Okay. So we got those things. So it's entrepreneurship, it's income through working, it's home ownership, it's youth development. Those are the things, when you think of those things, we need you to think of the Urban League of Greater Atlanta. So thank you again for being here. I'm going to bring up now Tiffany Holland-Wright. She is a member of our board of directors. She is with Fifth Third Bank. We want to give her a round of applause for her support.
Oh, you guys all fed up, carved up? Right? Good. Well, welcome. It is a great thing to see so many faces out this early in the morning, right? It's very early. I want to just give you an idea. I usually get asked the question, where did you get that name from? Fifth Third Bank, right? Fifth Third Bank is a combination of two banks, the Fifth Bank of Ohio Valley and the Third Bank of Ohio Valley. We've been in existence for about 155 years. We provide financial empowerment through many communities, and we're known as the Curious Bank. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about curiosity. I'm not going to take up too much time because you've got a lot of people to listen to today, right? So the one thing that we do as curious bankers, and if there are bankers in the room, you can wave your hand. If not, make sure you guys visit them at the table before you leave today. But we find out what interests you and what's going to make you successful. What do you need to be more financially empowered? So it's not just about getting you into a loan, because we don't want you in the wrong loan, right? We want you in the right loan at the right time. So as a curious banker, one of the things that you want to be sure that you're looking at is how understanding your real budget. You know, what can you actually afford? What is going to help you live comfortably? Some of us live a little bit beneath our means because we want to go on those cruises with Tom Joyner, right? That's what I'm talking about. And that's a wise thing. Some of us live beyond our means, and so we're limited in other areas. It's also about shopping around. How many of you have recently once made a big purchase like a television, a car, right? Go to various places, retailmenot.com, right? Rewards programs, talk to different folks. We put a lot of due diligence into that. Well, this gives you an opportunity to prepare and to talk to a panel of experts. Be curious, ask questions, listen carefully to the answers, because this is your one opportunity to make the best decision for you long term. Owning a home for me was a milestone. I have to tell you that it was one of the greatest achievements and one of the greatest challenges. I think we purchased in December, and by March I realized that I might have to buy a lawnmower. Snakes and rabbits started coming out of the woods. I actually think I ran over one of those rabbits with my lawnmower when I got it. But seriously, there's a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson that I want to share with you. It is, "A man builds a fine house. Now he has a master, a task for life. He is to furnish, watch, show it, and keep it in repair the rest of his days." If you don't prepare, homeownership can feel like that type of a burden. It can feel like a master. But if you prepare, you can conquer it. You can save. You can have your lawnmower already in the garage. I don't think I had money for my refrigerator either. I was just confused. I didn't have this opportunity. But if you can prepare, it won't master you. Finally, I just want to say that you're in a good purchase environment. There are some great loan-to-value products that are out there. Rates are still relatively low, and you have an opportunity now to choose a variety of different products as well as down payment assistance programs. So talk to some folks about those opportunities. It's not wrong to take assistance to help you with your down payment if it's in the right area and you qualify. It's more affordable now to own than to rent. At one point it wasn't, but now it's getting that way, especially in Atlanta. And if you want to live in the city, the fair market rents are very high. So homeownership is a real option for you. So the theme of today is empowering communities, changing lives. As a Fifth Third Curious Banker and as an Urbanly Greater Atlanta board member, I'm here to ignite your curiosity. I'm proud to be a part of the financial empowerment that you'll receive today, and I wish you the very best. Godspeed. Round of applause for
presenting sponsor is State Farm Insurance. They have been a long-standing partner of the Urban League. So we don't have an opening speaker from State Farm today, but they are in the house. So make sure you go by their table and all the tables. That is the other most important thing. In addition to what you're getting in here, our partners out there in the foyer have a lot more information that you should gather. So we're going to take breaks throughout the day. When we break for lunch, go out there because, oh, I see somebody's already done a lot of work. Now, show them your sheet. Is that your sheet with the dots? Okay, so every time you visit somebody, you get color-coded dot. That's what's going to qualify you for some gift cards that we're going to have available at the end. Yes, ma'am.
My phone don't have that paper.
I can't hear you.
My phone doesn't have that paper.
Okay, then we'll get you one. So just step right outside the door and get you one. No, thanks for sharing that. Okay, so next we have a very, very important agency to the Urban League's work in this space. And it's the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Our tax dollars, as you know, help fund our government's operations. And the government is structured around all the key issues that impact our communities. HUD is very important to keeping a roof over our heads and offering these kinds of opportunities to our citizens. So would you please welcome Mr. Daniel Patrick, who is representing the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Dan Ellis, and I'm a marketing representative for the Federal Housing Administration, which is part of the Department of HUD. The FHA has been around since 1934. We just celebrated our 80th anniversary. We were created as part of the New Deal back in the Great Depression. And then in 1965, HUD was created during the Lyndon Johnson administration. What FHA does is we are the largest mortgage insurer in the world. We've insured 34 million loans. And what we do is the loans that are made by Fifth Third Bank or any of these other lenders out here, we insure that loan and provide them insurance in case of default. So if the homeowner defaults, we will be able to reimburse them the money that they lost. They filed a claim. So this gives you an opportunity to purchase a home with FHA insurance with only 3.5% down payment. We offer, well, first I want to tell you what Ms. Johnson said was right after this Great Recession a few years ago. One of the things that happened after that was these credit overlays. It went to the other extreme from anybody could get a loan, no doc loans, interest only, 80-20 loans. It went from there, right before the Great Recession and housing crisis, to the other extreme where there were so many credit overlays, it was hard for anybody to get a loan. I work at a lot of these events, and I can tell you what, a lot of people come up to me, to my table, and they have no idea that they can still get a loan. Because of this, the average credit score for a conventional loan is 752. There are 13 million people in this country in the range of 580 to 680 credit score. FHA's target audience is 500 to 680 credit score. I had people come up to my table, they didn't know that they had a bankruptcy 2 years ago, they could get a loan. They didn't know if they had a foreclosure 3 years ago, they could get another home. We have the most relaxed underwriting guidelines out there. So I encourage you to come by my table, and I will show you some of the programs that we have. We have programs where if you find the right house, but it needs repairs, you can include the repairs in the mortgage payment. I have programs where if you find a house but the utility bill is high, you can include the cost of energy improvements in the mortgage payment also. So I hope you'll stop by, get my card, and I'll explain to you any of these programs that we have. And all of them with 3.5% down. But thanks again for the invitation from the Urban League.
Thank you so much, Mr. Patrick. And next to the stage, we have City Councilwoman Joyce Shepherd. Please welcome her. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so proud to see all of y'all here ready to buy a house. Is that correct? Yes. That's a good thing. So as we talk about housing, I am Councilwoman Joyce Shepherd. This is my district. I represent District 12, which is a huge district. It goes from Jonesboro Road at 285, where the Home Depot is. I'm telling you that because I've been looking at houses everywhere in that district.
Comes back in Jonesboro Road, Cleveland Avenue, beautiful neighborhood, Brownsville Neighborhood Association, South Brewer Neighborhood Association. It comes back to Lakewood, all the area on Prior Road, High Point Estates. Y'all need to write down these neighborhoods and go check them out. I live in Capitol View, which is the neighborhood right here where we're in. I live right up the street. I walk this campus at least 2 or 3 times a month in terms of me walking and exercising. I lived in my community for right at 38 years, same house. Bought it back in the 70s for $17,000. And it was, anybody ever watch HGTV? My house was an HGTV house. 17, it was a raggedy house. But if you go to my house now, my project every year is doing something. I just finished redoing my living room as of last week. Love my home, love my neighborhood. And I bought into this neighborhood, but it was a red light district. Y'all know this is called Metropolitan Park, but this used to be called what? Stewart Avenue. And I raised my daughter on Stewart Avenue. She's 40 now. Went to college the whole 9 yards. Right up the street, next to the elementary school. That's the school she graduated from. My whole family lived within 10 minutes of this neighborhood. I have several members of my family. They all live literally in my district because we love this neighborhood and been here for over 35, 40 years. This neighborhood is changing. I'm right now for the last week, and all next week I'll be in Washington, D.C. in the fight to redevelop Fort McPherson. And so, with the Tyler Perry Studio. As a result of that, some people are talking about we want Tyler Perry in our neighborhood. We love Tyler Perry. We've met him consistently in terms of him buying a large portion of Fort McPherson. But this is going to be a catalyst for the redevelopment of this whole south side of Atlanta. Right down the street from Fort McPherson is the Beltline in this neighborhood.
All right.
As a council person, I fought for Fort Mac. I've also fought to say, anybody ever been to the old Fort Ward and walked the Beltline on the How many people raise your hand? If you haven't, go and walk the Beltline in the old Fort Ward district. What is happening in this side of Atlanta is I fought for redevelopment because people said that the Beltline would never come to the south side of Atlanta. But if you go and walk the Beltline and look at it in terms of what's happening, people are buying around there like crazy. They're moving into the communities because of the redevelopment of Old Fort Ward. So through my work and hard push, the next phase of redevelopment for the Beltline is called the West Side. And the West Side starts at Allen Avenue, Lee Street, Murphy Avenue. We're getting ready to do the next 5 years a whole redevelopment very similar to Old Fort Ward around Ponce de Leon and all that area in this neighborhood. That neighborhood that touches it is Capitol View and Adair Park. There are urban pioneers who literally are grabbing up every house they can in this neighborhood because of the redevelopment of these 2 projects I'm talking about. And for real estate folks, I want y'all to know that because I actually took some of my friends out and shopped, and real estate folks say, you know what, I never knew that y'all had great products over this side of the neighborhood. So, but other folks know that they're doing their homework. They're doing things to figure out where can I buy a house for a good deal at a good price. Because what happens is sometimes some of us, we wait until after the neighborhood's developed. And then we say, well, I'm going to buy a house. So like I said, I bought my house with what I call a diamond in the rough, and I shined up the diamond to make it smooth. A lot of us want the diamond, bling bling, already fixed up, all of that. But when you do that, you're paying the cost for that. Here you are as new owners looking at buying a house in the community, all across the city of Atlanta. I'm not telling you not to buy anywhere else, but I'm just telling you the other thing that will happen in our communities, and I would tell you, people say, well, why would I buy a house on Stewart Avenue? Why would I buy a house in these particular neighborhoods? It's the ghetto. I'm working hard along with folks who believe in me in these communities. If you come to some of our neighborhood meetings, you'll be amazed at what you see in terms of the folks who are fighting to make a difference in our community. So I'm telling you, wherever you move in your neighborhood, I want to challenge all of you, wherever you move in your neighborhood. I don't care if it's DeKalb County, Clayton County, wherever it is. Become involved in what is happening in your neighborhood. Become very actively involved, going to community meetings, talking to your legislators, working with the police department, working with everybody in your neighborhood to make your neighborhood strong and safe in terms of a quality of life in your neighborhood. I'm telling you all not to go and buy a house and just be in the house and go to work every day and don't know what's going on in your neighborhood. And when things change, then you be saying, oh my God, I'm ready to move. But the folks who are in my neighborhood are coming back and believe in these neighborhoods, we call them urban pioneers. They are folks who believe in it, they're coming back, they see the difference, and they're at the table every day. And I'm leaving here going to a neighborhood meeting down the street in terms of public safety. I'm going meeting about community neighborhood things in terms of parks and recreation and what we can provide for our children in our neighborhood. But guess who's demanding that? The people who live in the community. So I'm asking you all as y'all sit down here today and you begin to look at neighborhood and owning houses and things like that, that in addition to what they're going to offer you today, it is so important for you to really invest in your neighborhood as citizens. And understand what's going on around you and lift up the community. That's how we lift up the community. And that's what I'm doing every day. And I ask you to do the same thing. I bless you. I hope you all get a home. We also have funding from Invest Atlanta. Actually, I just had a tour of the Beltline area about 3 weeks ago, where we actually put a down payment assistance for people to buy around the Beltline in my neighborhoods. So again, I lift you all up. I wish y'all well. I want everywhere y'all to get a house. I want somebody to buy a house in my neighborhood. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, Joy Shepherd, City Councilwoman, because that is, the mechanics of it is one thing, but once you're in the house, that's your home. And what all the points you made are so, so important. Get to know your neighbors. Look out for each other. This is what it's all about, us working together. All right? So our next representative is going to be Derek Hope. And Derek is representing Chairman John Eves, of course, who is the chairman of the Fulton County Commission. So welcome, Derek.
Thank you, Nancy. Good morning, everyone. As she mentioned, my name is Derek Pope. I'm Executive Counsel and Chief of Staff for Chairman John Eves of the Fulton County Board of Commissioners. God knows I wish I could shorten that. Yeah. Say all of that. This is precisely the type of event that the chairman would love to be at. But as many of you may know, his uncle, A. Reginald Eves, the Public Safety Commissioner of the City of Atlanta and the Fulton County Commissioner, passed after a long bout of illness last week. And he is in Florida attending his uncle's funeral. And I know his friends at the Urban League and you gathered here extend your prayers and thoughts to him. Today, you are taking a very important first step. A step that my wife and I took when we purchased our first home. And we participated in a seminar like this and some workshop counseling. And if you were like us, it was a little intimidating, you were a little hesitant. But the more we listened, the more that we learned, the more we understood that this was doable and owning a home was achievable. You have a great agenda in front of you today where you'll be prepared to understand if you're ready to own a home, learn the role of a real estate agent, deal with all the issues of credit, and most important, that down payment. But the real thing that's going to be exciting to you is something that was very intriguing to me. We closed, moved in on my wife's birthday. A few months after that, when the spring rolled around, I saw my daughter crawling in the grass in the backyard. That began because we sat where you're sitting. A good thing is happening in Fulton County today. The Urban League has a very long history of promoting those initiatives that promote economic empowerment. You should be proud. I know the chairman thanks you for this, the work that you've done in the past, what you're doing today. And from the office of the chairman, there will always be support for the work that you do in the future. Thank you, enjoy your day, and welcome home.
Get started? Because we're ready to start. I know we had to get you wound up and give you a lot of good information, but I want to introduce you to Jeanette Brown. Jeanette is the certified HUD counselor for the Urban League of Greater Atlanta. She and Myra Johnson on our team really put this all together. So give her a very warm round.
Thank you to all of our guests. Good morning, all homeowners. Good morning. Everyone that's in here, good morning. Good morning. Let's start. I'd like to introduce our panel of speakers this morning. We have Ms. Tracy Powell from Fifth Third Bank, Carol Walton from BB&T, Philip Welch from Bank of America, and Melissa Mazzio from SunTrust Bank. Okay, so we're going to get right into the program. We're going to go right into the program, and they should have it queued up shortly so that you guys can see it on the screen. But our first topic of discussion this morning, and this is one that's going to be very important to each and every one of you. And this question actually goes to Ms. Tracy Powell. And she's going to discuss with us this morning what is credit. And we'll break down what makes up our credit score, how does positive and negative activity affect our credit scores, and what are the three major credit bureaus. Tracy?
Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
And when we talk about credit, a lot of times we assume that it's just a number. But credit score is pretty much a system that creditors use to determine whether to give you credit. It also helps determine the terms that you receive, and it also helps determine that the rate that you're going to pay on a loan. Now, when you think about that, you're looking at the types of credit that you have, whether it's an installment loan, whether it's a revolving debt. You want to see how you pay your bills, whether you pay them on time. You want to look at if you have collection accounts, if you have outstanding debt, the age of your accounts. And we look at all of that to determine, based on how you do those things, what your credit score would be. Your credit score is made up of several things. So when you look at that, there are certain percentages that you have. So you look at your payment history. That's 35% of your credit score. You look at the amounts owed. That's about 30% of your credit score. You look at the length of credit history. That's about 15% of your credit score. You look at the types of credit used. That's 10%. And then you look at new credit. That's 10%. So that's how your credit score is built. Now, when you're looking at that, you also want to make sure that you're not assuming that just because you have a good credit score, you can get a loan. There are other things that go along with that. You have to look at your income. You have to look at pretty much not just the score, but again, the length of time that you've had the credit. You can walk in like it was said earlier and have things that happened in the past, but you rebuilt your credit. Because a lot of times people assume that once you've had a bad credit score, it's always a bad credit score. How many people thought that? I see some hands going up. Well, that's not true. There's some things you can do to actually reestablish your credit. Now, if you don't have any credit at all, there's some things you can do to build your credit. One thing you can do is start off with a secured credit card. So you can talk to one of your bankers about that. Or you can talk to the Urban League about building that up. But you have to have some type of credit in order to do what you're wanting to do, which is to be a homeowner. A lot of times when you're looking to purchase, your credit is a picture of who you are. So you're gonna have one or two things. You're gonna have a mugshot, or you're gonna have a glamour shot.
Get a question. That they have been purchasing a condominium and they're having issues with the sellers paying closing costs. What should they do?
Well, part of that issue is an inventory shortage. Before, when it was a buyer's market, there were tons and tons of homes for sale. But because of the real estate, because of the real estate crash, people have finally been able to start selling their homes. And then we've gotten into a shortage because builders couldn't get construction money, so they couldn't build houses. So we are, in most counties, a 3 to 6 month supply of houses, which is very, very low. So sellers are getting multiple offers on their house. In some cases, they're getting offers more than the sales price. So because it's a seller's market, you may have less opportunity for the seller to pay closing costs or to negotiate anything because they have multiple offers. That's not the case in all situations. In fact, we see more loans than not where the seller is paying a certain amount of closing costs. But if you're in a bidding war, the best, highest bid is the one that the seller's going to take because it's the best program for them. It's the best deal for them, unfortunately.
Okay, so our next question, yes ma'am.
This is for Tracy. At the beginning, you were telling us how the credit score is graded, and you gave us a percentage. We didn't get to write it all down. So you said 15% goes towards credit history, 35% goes towards credit history. What were the other parts?
I'll repeat it for you.
Thank you.
The credit score is made up this way. 35% is payment history. 30% amounts owed. 15% is the length of your credit history. 10% the types of credit in use. And 10% is new credit.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And one thing I want to tell you guys, you all were given the best thing you could have gotten today, which is a folder. And as you go along this process, you're in the right place. This is a great step to take, the first step, coming to get educated. But as you go along, keep every document that you have. When you start the process, your lenders are going to ask for everything that was listed. Your either 3321s or your 2221s, but make sure, just to be proactive, you keep your tax returns, your W-2s, your 1099s, your pay stubs, your bank statements in the folder so that you'll always be ready. Go ahead and write your letters of explanation if you have some unique situations so that you're always ready. Because when you come in front of us and you show us that you're prepared, then we're going to work that much harder for you. So just make sure that you have everything. Just want to let them know,
Thank you, Tracy, and she makes a very good point. And one thing that we do at the Urban League is prepare you. It's preparation, and she's absolutely correct. And the reason that we have such a high successful rate in our participants in purchasing homes is because we make sure that you're ready. We make sure that you're ready, and she jokingly said, if you have a mug shot or a glamour shot, we meet you where you are, as we do with all of our programs. So even if your credit is scary, it's okay. We help you work through that so that when you go before your lenders, you're prepared and you will close. You're going to get that approval. So thank you, Tracy. The next question will go to Philip. Yes, ma'am. Yes, go ahead.
So you're talking about comparing lenders. How would I do that? How would I know how should I be comparing lenders? I guess that's a better question.
That's a good question. It's called a good faith estimate, and it'll show all the fees and the costs and prepaids the prepaids aren't going to change, but the closing costs, the cost that like the origination fee, processing fee, you'll see all kinds of different fees, and some lenders have different fees in different places too. So like, I'm not gonna use an example. You could have a $1,500 origination fee. Another lender might have $500 origination fee, but they may have a processing fee in another spot. And the fees, don't get too caught up on fees and where they are. Look at the total cost. And the total cost pretty much, with the lenders all here, are all gonna be pretty much the same. They might be a little different. The rates are where you're gonna be competitive probably. Sometimes lenders have different rates at different times and different products. And it just depends on what you're looking for. So you'll get a good faith from, say, SunTrust, a good faith from Bank of America. We'll give them to you and just say, hey, this is what you want to do. You'll look at your fees and say, hey, they're pretty comparable. These are cheaper. These are more. And then you'll look at your interest rate and you'll say, okay, this is you'll be able to compare, just like when you buy a car. You know, when you buy a car, you know, you're always shopping around with a car. I say do it the same way. Just, yeah.
So with a car, I'm like getting my credit pulled every time. Am I doing the same thing at each bank?
Yes, but when you get your credit, if you're going for the same type of loan, like a home loan, you do it in a certain period of time, it will not hurt your credit.
Okay.
I'm not saying go out and do it 100 times.
Okay.
But you know, you're going to probably do it 3 or 4 times, different lenders. It will not hurt your credit because you're going for the same type of loan, and it's also a softer type of credit, so you'll be fine. But just compare shopping.
Okay, thank you so much. And that's something we speak to is building a team. So everyone involved in your purchase, you're building your team and you want to make certain that you have a good, strong team. And to do so, you are going to have to do a little comparison shoppers. And our lenders are here all day. If you need to pull them face to face, feel more than welcome to do so. And I think this table, we had our last question, and that's going to go to Carol.
Yes. So my question is, how important is it to have a realtor, as opposed to if you do your homework, you're going out there shopping around, and you are pretty much focused on what you want to buy? Do you have more buying power without a realtor, or is it necessary to have a realtor?
Well, I would say, and my realtor partner would kill me if I said you don't need a realtor. So I'm definitely not going to say that, and I have to agree. Oh, they couldn't hear the question.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, she wanted to know how important it is to have a realtor in the process.
Yes.
Have a realtor as one of your partners.
Yes.
And I was saying that it is very important to have a realtor, and not just a realtor, but a very good realtor, one who can take a look at the property, tell you whether or not it's been on the market for a long time, whether or not it's been relisted, because if it has been relisted, then it might be a property that you could sort of lowball on. Maybe not in this climate of today's market, but that's typically what a realtor would do for you. She'll put together the contract, and like the gentleman from Bank of America said, a good realtor will also negotiate closing costs into the contract so that you're paying maybe very few dollars toward
And I just want to thank you for that question, but that's a part, we're actually going to go into our realtor segment next. That's our panel that's up next. And so we'll go into that question.
This panel is called The Role of the Real Estate Agent. Thank you. And you can continue to get refreshments. Whatever you'd like to do, just kind of do it quietly. We're going to keep the program moving. So how are we doing so far?
Great.
Good. Are you learning things that you didn't know before? Okay, that's what we want to do. All right, so our first presenter for this panel is with the company Keller Williams. Her name is Jaquilla Jones Garot. Just like it's spelled, garage.
Not carrot, but garage.
Garage.
R-R-O-T.
Okay, you pronounce it. Present.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jaquilla Jones Garot.
Garot. Awesome. Thank you so much. And she is going to speak with you first about what a real estate agent will do for you. That was actually the last question from the last panel. That's right. Now we're going to go into this deep, because the real estate agent is somebody that plays a very key role in the purchase of the home. So Jaquilla, if you would kick us off, I'd appreciate it.
All right. Well,
Okay. Can everybody hear me good? No?
Take it off. Yeah.
Is that better? Okay. Is that better? Yes. All right. Well, good morning again. I'm Jacola Jones Durant with Keller Williams, and I'm a full-time agent working with Keller Williams, and I think it's a good segue into the question that I had, well, that we had last. I have a client that I'm working with right here, Mr. Keith, and good morning, Keith. Do you see any value in using a realtor?
Very much so.
Very much so. Can you give us one good point, one good point before I continue?
You brought me here.
Brought you here, okay. Well, that was a good one, but I think you can do better than that, but we'll talk later. All right, so I'm a homeowner as well, and I became a realtor because I felt the need, I felt the need to do a better job of servicing, because I think that when we bought our home, there was a very lack of service. So a lot of people don't recognize the value that agents do. We do more than just open up the doors to the home. We have to educate you about the home buyer process. We have to educate you about the home itself. We also sometimes have to help you educate yourself on what it is you really want. Everybody wants certain things, and what you have to understand is there's a price tag attached. There's that thing everybody keeps asking about, the dollar amount, the closing cost. We're in a very volatile time right now with real estate where you may not get any closing costs. That's just the way it is because there's so many people buying, which is the awesome thing. Leads into competition, leads into you have to take off a few of your wants, and a lot of that may be, you might want to save more money, but it just may not be feasible to do so because you have to contribute more to the purchase than you initially wanted to. That's why I stress to my clients, stop your life. And what they mean by stop your life is just save. Don't do anything monetarily that does not involve eating and sleeping. Just, pay your regular bills and save all the extra cash that you might want to do whatever it is. Just, use that to better your situation when you find that home that you really, really want and the seller has just countered back and said, no, we're not paying closing costs. Now that extra $1,000 bonus that you stashed away, we can go ahead and get you in the house. It's very difficult to navigate through it by yourself, so the value of a realtor is very important. A lot of times finding the right realtor is a challenge. Being educated about the process is something that you need in this market, so you want to make sure that you're in business with somebody that is very knowledgeable. A lot of times I run into clients that just don't want to listen to their agents, and that's going to waste you a lot of time, and it's going to have you lose that house that you really, really wanted because you just adamant that I'm not going to this, or if they want me to buy this house, well, guess what? Somebody else just moved in last week, and they're just as happy as they can be because I don't know, but you have to trust your agent. I have a pamphlet actually that states 83 things that realtors do. I actually think it's more than that. And if you stop by my booth outside, I can get your email address and email it to you. It's about 8 pages. And you can go over some of the different things, and you can just highlight 20 of them that are important to you for you to have in your realtor that you see the value in. Yeah, we help you identify the property. We help you with the taxes. We work in collaboration with your lender for payment reasons. You may be able to do a rehab loan. You may be able to use down payment assistance. So we work together as a team, like they mentioned before, so that the deal can get done. So if you want the house, we're going to have to be creative, and we can do that together, but we just have to make sure we do this as a team and everybody knows the lender's the money portion, the house portion, and we're all trying to do this for you, the client.
Thank you so much. Next on our panel, we have Ms. Christina Parks. And Christina's with Parks Realty and Associates, and she is going to speak to us about the different types of properties that you can look for. Because, you know, when you think about buying a house, I know when I bought mine, all I really wanted to do was look at the houses. Right? I just want to see the houses, where I want to live. And so, you know, neighborhood is important. And, you know, you really have to do a lot of homework in this space. And the value of the agent is they know the market. And so once you tell them the criteria, she can help. So I'm going to have her turn it over to Christina, and she's going to talk to us about the different types of properties and how you go about finding the home of your dreams.
Good morning, everybody. Let's wake up a little bit. Good morning. How y'all doing? Great. I'm a real energetic agent as well. I am a past Keller Williams agent as well. I was with Keller Williams for 9 years and opened up my own small boutique about 5 years ago. Awesome. One thing that I do, I cater to my clients. I tell them about the services that I render. But the one thing I really enjoy is educating buyers on the different types of properties that are available, what the process could be, and how that process could go. So let's talk about the different types of properties that are foreclosed bank on. When they're foreclosed and bank on, it's because a situation happened, whether it's the economy, divorce or whatever, and they either short sell that property with their current lender or they lost their home for whatever reason. Those are bank owned and or foreclosed properties. Now, there are some great properties out there like that. You can actually buy from various websites. A lot of the banks, depending on the type of the loan that was associated with that property, it's either going to be an FHA or a conventional property. And so when it's an FHA, a lot of times you can find those property on the HUD website, but there are also other websites that also hold HUD property. That's why you really need a good agent, because the agent will know all of these websites that you can purchase these homes on. But you have foreclosed property. One of the places that you can get a bank-owned property is Fannie Mae. Fannie Mae has a website that you can get homes on. You have Homestead, which is Freddie Mac. They have their own website as well. And then again, HUD or FHA have their own website, which is called the HUD store. And so you can, your agent, you're working with your agent to find out what type of property that you want. Because some people say, I want a HUD house. Well, there's a different process that you go through for a HUD house versus a house that's on Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae.
Why would somebody want to foreclose? What's the benefit?
Well, in the past, the benefit was, oh, I can get a great house. I may have to do a little bit of work, but I don't have to really do a lot.
Is it cheaper to get a foreclosed home? In other words, I can get the home of my dream and pay less if it's a foreclosure than if it's just on the market generally?
In the past, it used to be. Okay. Now the climate in the industry has tremendously changed. Now, because it is a buyer's market, you got sellers that are what I call sellers or resale homes that have sellers still in them. They know that it's a different market and they are willing to negotiate. Now, some sellers are and some are not. But as Jaquella said, you know, the market has changed so much. Some sellers are going to give you some, assist with you with down payment assistance, and some may not. So you got to be able to work with your agent and let her negotiate the best deal for you. And so, and also the other component that's available out there are investor properties. Let me tell you what an investor does. An investor can get these properties from the bank that look like they've been through the war and back, and they're willing to invest that money and turn their property into a gold mine. I've seen some investor properties that are just straight gorgeous. They go in and do all the upgrades for you and things of that nature. However, let me do a disclaimer for the investor. A lot of times when you get homes from an investor, there is not a disclosure. They may not tell you exactly everything that they've done in that property because it's so expensive. But the end result is you got an older home that has a facelift to it. Think about it that way, an older home with facelift. But you can find some really great property through an investor that has property for sale. And again, work with your agent. She knows these investors. You know, if she's a good agent, she knows these investors and they get those properties available. And she can tell you exactly where they are. They're all over the state of Georgia. It is not just one area. You can get them in just about every county. Again, because it is a buyer's market, it is, I hate to say, whoever gets in first, because a lot of time if it's a great property, it can be put in the system in the morning and have 4 offers by 5 o'clock. And I know that's frustrating for you guys, but that's why we, really stress that you get everything prepared up front so that when you see it and you know what your limitations are on your sale price, so you know if you got a little bit of wiggle room or no wiggle room at all. And that way you're not wasting your time or your agent's time. And we are here to help you as we all do.
Can you talk a little bit about new construction?
New construction is out there. Now, what I am seeing is there seem to be a little bit more in a higher price point. I'm not saying that you can't afford it, because it is. New construction now have different programs set up for new buyers that are out there and available. So if you're looking for new homes, the only difference between, well, it's more than a little bit, but new construction, you're getting a brand new house built up from the ground. And so that's one component, but they still come with warranty as well as resale. Negotiate, have your agent to negotiate with you on resale property, because new construction, a lot of times they're going to offer you at least a 1-year warranty on the manufacturing and the appliances. And so, you got new constructions that are out there offering some great incentive for coming in and purchasing their home. They will, if you use their preferred lender, they can assist you with down payment assistance. You automatically can go in and have a complete appliance package. And I've seen some new homes right now that are even upgrading their standards to what I call a more premium package, like your stainless steel appliance package.
So it kind of seems like that, it really depends. If you've always had in your mind, I want to build the home of my dreams, you have more input into the customization of the home and all the bells and whistles when you go with new construction. That's kind of the way I look at it. With an older home, you've got, let me back up. Sometimes with newer homes, there's hidden things that because it's new and you're in it for the first time, it's just like a car sometimes. You don't know if it's really going to run well until you drive it for a little while. It's kind of like that with new construction. There's potential there for issues, that you didn't foresee, whereas a more settled and established home, it's been around a while, you can get an inspection and so forth and so on. So it just depends. Do you like to fix up? Do you want brand new? What can you afford? It's a combination of factors that are going to come into play. So our next presenter is Mr. J.R. Johnson. Is that what people call you, J.R.?
Every day.
They call you J.R. All right.
Every day.
J.R. Johnson, and I know J.R. is going to have something to say because Christina kept saying she.
Instead of
But we know she really was referencing realtors in general, but girl. So I'm sorry, this is what, you're going to talk about closing on your dream home, right? The closing process, and it's a process, so we want you to learn all about it.
All right, how many of you are presently working with an agent and are under contract for buying a house? Pretty good number. I just wanted to ask that question because my client's in the back, Carissa. We're under contract, she's gonna buy a house next month. So I want to closing process. They save the best for last. The mail. This is the best part. If you've done everything that you were asked to do, you've gotten all the papers to your lender, you've saved your money, you've picked the house, you've done the inspection, you've done the appraisal, you've brought your mom, your dad, your girlfriend, you've driven by during the day and at night. Now you finally get to own it. And that is the best part. That is why we're all here. We want you at the closing. So what is the closing? Can somebody give me an idea what they think the closing is? Somebody that hasn't bought a house before, by the way.
Signing papers. Repeat what they say, please.
Okay, she said signing papers. That is pretty much it.
There's another hand up.
Okay, yes ma'am.
Crossing all your T's, dotting all your I's, like finalization on everything, expert.
I like that. Dotting all your T's, crossing all your I's, finalization. Oh, I said backwards. Dotting all your I's, crossing all your T's. All right, that's all right. Get your keys. I love that. Yeah, that's good. Anybody else? All right, that's pretty much it. It's a combination of all things. Her definition was from the lender's perspective. This is the time when the lender says, hey, you've given us a lot of papers, we verified a lot of information, and we're going to give you the final documents to sign. And
For your loan.
For your loan. For your loan. And it is a common thought that you own the house or you bought the house and the day of closes, but the truth of the matter is the day you're under contract is your house. You just have to provide the money. If you had cash that day, you can have it that day. You know, once they clear the title up. So consummate the loan and sign all the documents, dotting the I's, crossing the T's is exactly right. Signing the documents is exactly right. This is the step where you finalize the whole thing. You get your loan, you transfer ownership from the previous owner to you, and yes, you get your keys.
You pay for the property, right?
Yeah, you pay for everything. Just get you don't know, you pay for everything. So your lender sends the money to the attorney, and there's a part that you may have to bring to the attorney as well. Right now, that money and how it's dispersed is probably the #1 form that you'll see at the closing attorney's office. It's called a HUD-1. HUD-1 stands for the Housing and Urban Department first form, or Form 1, where they decide how all of the funds are itemized. They line item detail all of the money. What the lender's bringing, what you're bringing, what the seller's getting, what the agents are getting, what the insurance company is getting is all line item detail. That's the #1 form at the closing. The second, probably most important form is going to be agreeing to borrow the money from the lender. That's what the notice. You have to sign that. That's a pretty lengthy document. And then the next document that's pretty important is going to be a mortgage. And there's a difference between a mortgage and a note. The note is just saying you're borrowing the money. The mortgage, which is the main meat and potatoes of this deal, is saying I'm taking the money that I'm borrowing and I'm attaching it to the house. That's what a mortgage does, or it's called a deed to secure debt. Once you sign those documents and a few other disclosures, typically the attorney is going to leave the room and go fax those over to your lender. Now at the closing, the participants are typically going to be you and your agent and basically the attorney most of the time. Sometimes the seller is there, sometimes the seller is not. I don't think I ever seen a lender maybe twice in 20 years at a closing. So typically you need an agent because they are going to help you decipher through the documents. And so I want to make sure that at the closing that you don't feel rushed, that you look at the documents and what they're doing beginning August 1st, and I'll go over that in a minute, is they're setting up a process so that you are not rushed. They want to make sure that you are aware. The government enacted an agency called the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, and they came up with a whole new set of documents and requirements that start August 1st, where you will not be rushed at a closing. They just won't let it happen. So I was asking about the people who are closing, because the ones who are closing, who are already under contract right now, you won't have that luxury per se. But beginning August 1st, everybody else will have that luxury. And so what they decided to do was require that you get all the closing documents 3 days before you close, 3 business days. That starts August 1st. And that means, and they count Saturday as a business day, just FYI, because the mailman run is a business day. So you won't have this rushed feeling anymore. And if you've never been to a closing, and you can interject whenever you would like to. If you've ever been to a closing before, sometimes it seems a little rushed, and there are so many documents, and it's so long that if you try to read every single one of them, it would take you the 3 days that they give you to read them. It's actually read every letter. The attorneys do a great job at giving you what I call the cliff notes for each document. Hey, this is your mortgage. This is going to tie your note to the property. This is, if you follow all these guidelines, then you'll be able to stay in your property, so on and so forth. All right. So the next thing I want you to do is ask questions. You know, don't be afraid. When you're there and the attorney puts a document in front of you, or you thought something was supposed to be done that didn't get done, and you're concerned about it, ask. Ask. We are all professionals. I like to say this at the close: keep calm. We're all professionals. The attorney, myself, the lender, this is what we do. And we're here to help you. And lastly, in regard to the documents, I want you to remember that they're all the same for everybody. Every single person in here, if you buy a house and you get a loan, you will have a note. There's no way around it. You will have a HUD-1. And beginning office, you will have a closing disclosure, is what they're calling the new HUD-1. New name for the HUD-1 is closing disclosure. You will have that. You will have a mortgage. You will have disclosures. If you're getting down payment assistance, you will sign a lot of documents. Somebody give me a number as to how many you think you will sign on average. 20, 50, 150, 30. Let me say this. It's less than 150, but more than 30. Typically somewhere between 75 and 100 times you will either sign or initial. I counted one day.
75?
70. My client has 75 signatures, 32 initials, and 28 dates. So just be calm. We're all professionals. This is what we do. But once it's over, you get to move in your house and you're a homeowner. Make sure you get there on time, get there early. Make sure you bring 2 forms of ID. And just in case they ask you for something, if you have a document, just bring it, leave it in your car. Because inevitably, in times past, it used to be, hey, did you have your pay stub from March the 2nd? Really? Today you want that? You know, so they're going to eliminate that. They're going to eliminate all of that beginning August 1st. All right? And that's it. Any other questions? Go ahead. I'm done. You can clap now. A little louder. That's a little louder.
Okay, all right, so we're gonna take questions, just a couple of quick notes before we do that, because it's a lot of information. So number one, what I want you to get from this process is, this is a business transaction. It is a big, huge, probably the biggest transaction most of us execute in our lifetimes because of the price of a property. It's responsibility. So it's similar to when you buy a car and you have to sign all the papers that you have to for a car. It's very similar. But the added responsibility is that not only do you have to pay for the house every month for whatever the term of your mortgage loan, which is going to either be more likely 30 years, but of course, be clear, when you sign up for the longest term with the interest, you pay more for the same property than somebody who finances it for a shorter period of time, okay? But if it's shorter, your payment is what? Bigger, right. In addition to that, you have to also pay property taxes on your home every year. I highly recommend that you escrow your taxes. What that means is you take the estimated amount of the property taxes over the year and you add them pro rata, divided by 12, let's say, to your mortgage payment so that it's being paid as you go. And you can do the same for your insurance, or you can deal direct. Bottom line is, If all three of those things aren't paid, things go wrong with the home ownership process. If your insurance defaults because you didn't factor it in and you forgot to pay, then the mortgage lender, who really still owns the home and has a very deep vested interest in you paying the loan consistently, they will go out and purchase the insurance on your behalf. Trust me, it'll be more expensive than what you would have paid on your own. And they're going to add it to your mortgage anyway. And if you don't pay that, then you can go in default on the entire loan and lose the whole home. Okay, so that's factored. So there's three critical things. Because this is a business transaction, I love the way you said, don't be rushed. Because you're going to feel rushed, because if you got to make all those signatures, I am so happy for this new law that will require. Here's what I'm going to tell you, and this is just good advice for any contractual relationship, whether it's with your landlord or a purchase of a house, any kind of contract. Now, with that said though, I do like your point about, there are a lot of people who don't listen to their professional team. And at the end of the day, they know a lot more about the process than you do. Now, it's a partnership though. And so if your lender, your realtor, the seller, whoever's in the transaction is not willing to be patient and responsive to you, now you don't want to be a pain in the neck and repeat stuff and, you know, not be on time and, you know, drag things out, don't do the paperwork, blah, blah. You hurt yourself, right? So you got to be ready. When you're ready, if you say you want to start a home, I want to highly recommend this. Go out after this activity and buy a binder with some dividers, section it off, and all the documents that people have said you're going to need, you start to compile and put them in that binder. Not a folder, because then you got to flip and all that. Divide it up. I want to go straight to my pay stubs, straight to my bank statements, straight to my XYZ, whatever it is. But, tax returns, those things. Get those things in order right now. You know you're going to need those. The other thing is, I want to mention is this HUD statement. That to me is the bring it all together document. I apologize that we don't have one that I can show you, because you do.
I have some.
Oh, you got some? Well, I just want to hold it up if you grab one somewhere. But here's what it does. It tells you everything you need to know. What is the purchase price I am about to pay for the house? That's right at the top. In fact, there's 2 columns.
Actually, I have the new one.
That's the new version.
That's the new version that
Okay.
starts on.
So, I can't speak to the new one because I don't know this one, but it has the same information on it. Read your headings. It has the information with respect to you, the buyer, and it has information with respect to the seller. It's kind of like mirrored information, because the purchase price to you is the sales price to the seller. Then the closing costs are a cost to you, but they're coming income on the side of the seller. So it's like a dichotomy thing. I liked it when they were side by side, because you can kind of roll down. But anyway, they think they made it better, so let's hope that they did. Main thing is, go through that document carefully. And I love what they said before. If you want to seriously buy a home, you got to save your money, folks. Amen. Amen. You got to cut all the fat, the extra clothes, the entertainment, vacations, maybe. You know, during this window of time, as you're ready to acquire your first major asset, that's going to theoretically, hopefully, increase in value over time. You've got to be serious about it, and everything else has got to. And paying bills on time and being very mindful of your credit. That's really key. So you've got to, I'm glad so many of you are in here who didn't raise your hands that you're in the process, because you've got the time to get it together. You got the time now to walk out of here and say, you know what, I got to be more serious about budgeting. I've got to be more serious about paying my bills on time and monitoring my credit, making sure that identity theft is not playing with my credit. That's horrible, okay? So it's a serious time. Questions?
Can I get your name and tell me about the event today?
My name is Demia, and I came today because I'm on the market to purchase my first home. And I came today to get a lot of information. I got so much more than I even thought that was available to me as far as down payment assistance programs, and the different vendors gave a lot of information that was very beneficial for me to purchase my first home.
Thank you. Can you give me your name and tell me about the event today?
Yes, my name is Shirley Smith, and I'm a first-time soon-to-be homeowner. I achieved a lot of information. I know right now that I am qualified. I know the paperwork that I need in advance, so when I start my process, I want it to be less than 30 days before closing.
And what about you today?
I'm Dolores, and I'm from the Cayman Islands, just visiting my daughter. Taking part in this event today, it was very beneficial and enlightening to me, and I'm very grateful.
My name is Constantine Kaye, and I'm traveled from Lafayette, Louisiana, to come to this seminar today. And I was really enlightened and fulfilled with a lot of information that I didn't know about home buying. And with this program, I received a plethora of information to help me as a first-time home buyer. And I really appreciate this seminar and the people who organized it.
Can you give me your name and tell me about the event today?
My name is Chantel Sykes. The event was great. We learned a lot about mortgages, homeowners insurance. This is actually my second one. My first one was done as an internship at Urban League in West Palm Beach. Yes.
How did you find out about it today?
From Urban League in West Palm Beach.
All the way from Florida?
Yes, all the way from Florida.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tell me about the event today, and what did you learn?
Hi, my name is Portia Jackson. I learned about the event from a friend, my coworker. I really enjoyed today. We had got a lot of informative information as far as different loans, different things to expect once you purchase a home, before you purchase the home, and after you purchase the home. So I really got a lot of information, great information.
So did it meet all your expectations today?
It did, it really did.
And I say thank you. Can you tell me your name and tell me about the event today?
Okay, my name is Mia Brown. The event today was very, very interesting. It was very educational. I learned so much about home buying. I didn't know there was a lot of programs being offered within my city, and I'm a native Atlanta.
See, that wasn't hard. Hey, can you give me your name and tell me about the event today?
Yes, my name is Brian Talley. The event was very, very informative. I love coming to the events. They really help people out. I enjoyed everything, got a lot of knowledge. I will be coming back to getting counseling and getting all the benefits that they offer. But I really enjoyed it, and I thank them so much for what they do for us.
How informative was the home buying seminar?
Very informative. The home buyers, just the process itself, you know, they're explaining the process and about the down payment assistance and stuff. All that worked very well for me because I got a chance to understand how it works and what goes on. So it worked very well for me. The inspector thing where they tell you about inspecting your home, how important that is, all that works for me. So it was very, very important.
It was almost like saying it was kind of low key. It wasn't intimidating.
No, it was not intimidating.
And it was almost like saying it was in your language. You could understand.
Exactly right. It was.
They brought it to you.
That's right. It was broken down to where I can understand what was going on and what my process needed to be. And also the vendors. That's what I want to mention about them. They was there to help us and give us information. I got a lot of information from them. I got a lot of stuff that I can take back home and look over and really just study and see where I need to go and what I need to do.
On that note, I say thank you.
Appreciate it.